welcome to Stamping with Melva. My name's Melva Peters, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. And it's Thursday night, and every other Thursday night I jump on and do a bit of a mystery challenge with you. So I was doing kind of the traditional mystery challenges where I came on and gave you clues, but I really like to stamp and create. So therefore, I've decided to change up my mystery, and I post a clue every Thursday morning and invite you to come and make a project with me using that clue. So tonight it's a color challenge, and I'm using a really pretty color combination that I haven't played with for a while. So Crumb Cake, Early Espresso, Pool Party, and Very Vanilla. Love that color combination and decided that I'd play around with it. I made a card the other day using Early Espresso and Balmy Blue, and that's what made me think of this color combination. So hopefully as you're joining, you'll be able to hear me, and everything is good on Facebook or YouTube, no matter where you're coming in from. If you're coming in through YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button underneath so you get notified when I do my lives or when I post a video. If you're coming in through Facebook, I'm able to do notifications there, so you should be notified of that. All right, let me know where you're coming from, your name, and I'll get started. All right, let me switch over. There we go. I'm just going to turn my computer so I can actually see if comments come in. So this is the color combination that I chose for tonight. Again, Crumb Cake, Early Espresso, Pool Party, and Very Vanilla. Just a really pretty color combination. Kind of vintagey. And so I decided that I was going to, it just seemed to fit to use the Abigail Rose or the Cottage Rose bundle. This is one of the new bundles. I think this is my favorite from the new or the annual catalog. I just love it, and I've made a lot of cards with it, and I can't resist making more. So that's what I'm using tonight. So I've got the dies and these great. This is it's a rubber stamp set, and the images are 95%, so they are bigger than what you think. I actually grabbed a piece of paper because I'm going to use this big flower. Grabbed a piece of cardstock thinking it was going to fit, and of course, it's not. So, all right, so that's the stamp set and the dies I'm going to use. The other thing I'm going to use, this is the embossing folder. This is called, I believe it's called the Posies embossing folder. Again, it's a new one. And it's got kind of this pattern down at the bottom with just kind of all over flowers and stems. That's just so pretty. I'm going to use that. And then, of course, here's my colors. I'm going to use a piece of, let's get this out of the way. Piece of cardstock. I've got Crumb Cake, and this is 4 1/4 by 11. You could do 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, or maybe you're making something different. Maybe you're making a 3D item. It doesn't have to be a card. Just needs to use this color combination. Hi, Becky. So I'm scoring this at 5 1/2. And as always, I use my paper trimmer, my scoring blade on my paper trimmer to do the scoring. And I find my bone folder. So this is the side I scored on. I always fold into the raised line or the mountain. Just gives you a much better crease. And using a bone folder just definitely helps to get a good crease on your card base. Okay, so that's my card base. I've got a piece of Pool Party that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I've got a piece of Very Vanilla that is, I cut this to be 3 3/4 by 5. And then I grabbed 2 pieces of cardstock. So Pool Party and Early Espresso both are cut 1 inch by 1 inch. Sorry, 1 inch by 5 inches. And I'm going to use them. I'm just going to put a couple of strips here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere these pieces on first, and then I'm going to run the whole. Oh, welcome from. I think that's Minnesota. Sorry, I don't know my acronyms very well. I think you're Minnesota, Becky, but welcome. All right, I'm going to glue these pieces on using, now I'm going to line up with my grid paper so I kind of get them straight, hopefully. And you can always use your grid paper for this. If you don't have grid paper, you can use kind of a ruler, or you can use another piece of cardstock just to try and line it up so it's straight. Okay, so I've got that down. And then I'm going to just adhere this over top. I'm going to overlap this a little bit. And let's see. Actually, I'm going to overlap it about 1/2 inch. So I could have cut them a little, the early espresso one a little narrower, but that's okay. Okay, so now I'm going to take and run this. I like to have texture on my cards, so I was debating about what I was going to do to add some texture. Now, I think this is what, yeah. So I'm going to line this up with the bottom because I want most of the embossing to be kind of filling the card. And if I line this up at the bottom, I will get, trying to get it straight here, I will get most of mine embossed, and it'll be, all of it will be embossed, the strips of cardstock as well as the Very Vanilla. So let me just grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So this is a 3D embossing folder. So you only need the platform number 1 and then this plate number 4. So let's run this whole thing through. There we go. Thought it might be a little stiffer than that, given that I'm going through multiple layers of cardstock. So let me just pull this out. So one thing about this embossing folder definitely gives it a really good crease. Here, let me move this out of the way. So you can actually see the embossing on here. Isn't that pretty? Just really nice pattern to it. It does cut, kind of cut through. Well, it didn't cut through, but it feels like it's gone through a lot. So be a little gentle with it. So this is going to go on here. I'm not going to adhere it down. Isn't that pretty color combination? Gosh, I'd forgotten about this color combination. I'll have to use it more often. All right, I've got a piece of early espresso, or not early espresso, Very Vanilla, and I'm going to stamp my flower in early espresso. And I'm going to use this big flower. I love embossing folders. Yeah, it does border Canada. I think it does. I think you're right. It borders Ontario. And I think you're right about that. I've never been to Minnesota, although I know people from Minnesota. There we go. Isn't that a pretty flower? So I'm not actually going to do any coloring on this. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out using this die. Could line it up. My three-dimensional ability tonight is, there we go. For a minute there, that just wasn't going together. So let me just bring in my machine again. I could use my mini, but I'm in love with the magnetic plate. So it just makes it so easy to keep it all kind of flat on here without anything shifting. So the magnetic plate, Stampin' Up's new magnetic plate, actually is solid magnet. It's very heavy duty, and so it isn't, you won't find that your dies jump like you may have noticed on other magnetic plates. So this whole piece, oops, can't see, this whole piece of the magnetic plate, it's a solid magnet and it's got metal on the back. So it is heavy duty. And I'm so excited we now have the magnetic plate. Now I didn't bring over any coloring. Like I could do some coloring. I don't know. I think I'm not going to do any coloring. I'm going to let the colors behind this be the star of the show. You could do some sponging, for example, or take your blending brushes and do some coloring. You could use your blends if you want more of a solid color, but I think I'm just going to let the, I just love this background. All right. I also grabbed some Pool Party ribbon. Now I only have a little bit of this left, so I'm going to have to put this on my wish list. So let's see how I can do this and make a, okay. All right. I'm going to tie a bow. See how this works. I'm going to tie a bow in mine. I don't want a very big bow, so we'll see if we can do this and keep it quite small. So you can take and tie your bow. You need a bit of ribbon for this, so don't skimp on it like I often do. So I'm just going to take and tie my bow, and now I'm going to wrap it around my piece, and I definitely have way more than I need, but that's okay. This will be going on my next order. I love this Pool Party ribbon. It's a sheer Pool Party ribbon. There. So now my bow. Oops. I want to put this like, try to get my bow out from underneath it and trim it. Yeah, I still have some left over, a little bit left over. Okay, so now I can take and adhere. Now, and I've said this before, I like to use Stampin' Seal when I've got ribbon on, especially if my ribbon is kind of cut and adhered to the back. If I wrap it all the way around, I don't worry so much, but I just find the Stampin' Seal makes my ribbon kind of adhere better and it won't slip out. Sometimes if I've used the liquid glue, my ribbon slips out from the side. So you can see I've got my bow. I'm just going to put it like that. And now this piece can go on. Well, the new magnetic. So I have heard, Becky, that the new magnetic plate does work with the Big Shot, but it is, I'm going to say it's use at your own, use your own, because it's not made for that, but I have heard that it will work. So that makes it kind of handy. All right, let's see. I'm going to make this, trying to get this to fit around my bow now that I've got my bow kind of stuck out a little bit. But I think I can make it work. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use a glue dot to kind of keep my bow in position here, just to see if I can get my bow going more up and down. If I just put a glue dot underneath, maybe I can kind of control the direction. Yeah, that works. All right, and now I can use some dimensionals on the back of my flower. All right. I'm almost to the end of the dimensionals on this piece, so I just kind of cut around the edge so that I can use it up. Don't like to go to waste. Still not happy with how this is, but okay, there we'll put it like that. There we go. That's a little better. And then the bow. Okay, so what else do I want? I need a sentiment. So let's figure out what we're going to do for a sentiment here. This ribbon is lovely. It's a Pool Party and it's sheer and it ties so nicely. All right, I'm going to put a little sentiment down here. Let's use the best wishes. Well, I don't even know that I've used this. I haven't even put the labels on my stamps yet. Isn't that okay? There we go. That's not too bad. One of these days,
Actually, I have my virtual launch and I'm demoing this weekend. So I guess I better spend some time putting my my labels on my stamp sets or my stamps. Okay, so I'm just going to take, ooh, what color is that? Oh, that's Crumb Cake. That's not the color I wanted. I thought I was grabbing Early Espresso. That's just a little bit too light for me. There we go. We'll stamp that. That's better. And now, if you follow me, you know I like to fussy cut my sentiments. So I'm just going to take and cut around this. Make sure you steer as you're cutting with the hand that isn't got your scissors. It just makes it a whole lot easier to do fussy cutting if you steer using the hand without the scissors. You might even find that you grow to like fussy cutting. I don't know, maybe. It's kind of I love to fussy cut, so. All right. Where did the dimensionals go? So use up the last of these dimensionals. Always feels very satisfying when I use all my dimensionals up off of a sheet. Now I'm going to grab a mini dimensional because I just got a gap here and I don't like my labels to sag. So I'm just going to put one mini dimensional at the top and then it won't sag. Actually, it's at the bottom. But, all right, there we go. Kind of a romantic card. I don't know. Feels, yeah. So I'm also going to use, these are the new solid faceted gems. They're in Balmy Blue, Night of Navy. I've used almost all the Blushing Bride, Melon Mambo, Pool Party, and I think it's Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to use some of these Pool Party ones. So let's just do a couple there, and we'll do one there. Sandy, I've convinced you, Sandy, to do some fussy cutting. Now, no, that's not it. I thought I had a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock that I was going to put on the inside of my card, but I don't. So let me just quickly grab one. I'm sure I cut one, but as always, things disappear. All right, so here's a piece of Very Vanilla. Let's just make sure that it's cut. So it should be 4 inches, which it is, by 5 1/4. Perfect. All right, so let's do some, I'm going to stamp this same flower in Early Espresso. And I'm still having a hard time stamping on my pretty grid paper. So I'm just going to use my color challenge. So I'll just stamp that in the corner just to give something. Turn the paper tip. Oh, cool. Yeah, definitely turning the paper with your hand that doesn't have the scissors. Steering with that hand as opposed to the hand that's got the scissors works much better. All right, there. Well, I'm really happy with how that card turned out. There's my colors again. Huh? Oh no, I thought I'd put the sentiment on the wrong way. Wouldn't be the first time I put the sentiment upside down. All right. So don't forget to, hey Lee, welcome. Don't forget to, if you're on my Facebook group, don't forget to share your cards using this color combination. I'd love to see what you make out of it. It is, what is the date today? The 26th of May. Gosh, can you believe it's almost the end of May? So I will be doing a draw at the end of May from everybody who has shared cards or projects over the course of the month, and we'll be sending out some happy mail. So don't forget to share your cards. I love to send happy mail to people. So share your cards, doesn't matter where you're from. I'll send you something in the mail if I draw your name. I usually do draw about 3 different names over for all the ones that have been shared. So share your cards. The link to my Facebook page, group, and YouTube is underneath this video, so you'll be able to find it afterwards. Let's see what else. If you're coming to the launch on Saturday, we start bright and early at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. Pacific, so I hope you'll join me. You can request to join in the Facebook group, and it is for Canadians, unfortunately, and non-Stampin' Up! Demos unless you're on my team or Diane's team. We invite our team members to join us. So hopefully you'll join me and come and see all of the new products from the annual catalog that have just come out. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me tonight. I hope you have a great evening. And I won't be live on Saturday. I'm normally live at 11 a.m. Pacific on Saturday. I won't be live because of the virtual launch, but I will be back on Sunday at 12 noon Pacific. All right, everybody, have a great evening. Thanks for joining me. Happy stamping.